worked in this field for many years at the national as well as the state level. We often measure security, and you've heard it a lot in this election campaign, in terms of spending on weapons and weapons systems. Do you think that's the right measurement?
I wouldn't say so. I think that security particularly is made up of several different components: our foreign policy, our national security policy. Military goods and services is one. Economic strength, economic sanctions that we might bring against a country. And third, and of course from the State Department, our standard fare is diplomacy. And I think the importance of using all of those elements is clear in most successful interactions we have with countries. Diplomacy, I think, is particularly valuable when it's backed up by economic and military strength, but it is a very formidable component of our national security policy.
Now, everybody says they're for diplomacy. There's nobody out there against diplomacy. But where's the problem?
The problem is that sometimes you can't talk to the other side and convince them to see the world your way, or to find a common vision. And so you need to raise the stakes, and economic sanctions is a good example of what we're doing in Iran. We're working with the international community to apply sanctions, and they've been fairly effective in terms of changing the economic nature of Iran's position in the world.
We're going to come back to how these decisions get made and priorities get set, but let me come to you, Mako. Again, how do you define security and what you do?
Well, I like to think about sort of the way in which, during wartime, individuals and societies are living in a heightened ethos of fear, of terror, of xenophobia. And often, when we're functioning within that context, the people who are most at risk for harm are the most marginalized, are the most disenfranchised. So we're talking about women, we're talking about young people, children, and people of color, and poor and working class citizens, right? So during those periods of time, we have an enormous amount of data that suggests that during heightened periods of war, we see an exponential increase in domestic violence, both of women and of children. So it creates a whole sort of level of social dilemmas, particularly for service agencies, domestic violence service agencies. Their caseloads increase significantly, right? Many of the incidents that we have, you know, when we look at the data, we can't really rely on it because many individuals don't report these cases, right? So what happens, at least from my perspective as a sociologist, we're really concerned about the ways in which individuals, particularly these populations, suffer.